Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we're very lucky to have the Finance Minister of Thailand, Minister Arkhom Termpittayapaisith. Thailand is one of Credit Suisse's favorite markets, not just within the Asian region, but also globally. Therefore, we're very happy to have Minister Arkhom attending. He'll be telling us his views on how the Thai economy will be performing over the next year or two, and he'll be describing what sort of policies the government will be taking to aid the recovery. Without further delay, let me turn it over to Minister Arkhom. Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Very good afternoon, distinguished guests, participants from the financial and corporate worlds, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me a great pleasure to speak before distinguished institutional investors and financial professionals on Thailand's strategy to economic recovery. On this occasion, I would like to express my gratitude towards the Stock Exchange of Thailand and Credit Suisse for hosting this virtual conference. The conference will also serve as a venue for exchanging our views and deepening ties among regional stock exchange and within the industry. This year has been one of the most challenging periods for Thailand and the rest of the world. Governments across the globe continue to fight against COVID-19. Fortunately, there has been some good news regarding the progress of vaccines, and perhaps we are now only short distance away from having vaccines available. However, in recent weeks, there has been a rise in the infections across the country in Thailand. To manage the new wave of infections, the government has already introduced measures to contain the spread of the infections, including some closures of high-risk venues. We remain highly confident in the capabilities of our healthcare services, and more importantly, the cooperation from the entire public can help ensure that we can once again contain the infections. Distinguished guests, last year was a challenging year as well for Thailand, as the outbreak of the coronavirus, like many countries in the world, affected our economy. Thanks to the hard work of our medical staff and prompted responses by the government, the outcome has worth to say that Thailand was one of the safest countries from COVID-19. Moreover, the economic package was introduced just in time. The lockdown was in effect in a very short time, and we could reopen our economy locally soon enough to see the result in the improvement of most of the economic indicators. In particular, the capacity utilization in manufacturing sector has been increasing up to pre-COVID-19 level with less negative growth of export. We could see the Thai economy has been on the road to recovery and has already bottomed out since the second quarter of last year with minus 12.1% year-on-year basis. And then there was an improvement sign in the third quarter by only minus 6.4% year-on-year with the positive growth of 6.5% quarter-on-quarter. We hope the all-year growth would be only minus 6%, which is better than many forecasts. Despite the negative growth in last year, but Thailand has been able to maintain our strong economic stability. The public debt to GDP right now stood at 49.5%, which is lower than 60% of fiscal threshold. On the external front, the gross international reserve is relatively high at 253 billion US dollar. As a result, the institutional ratings agencies have reaffirmed our sovereign ratings. And very recently, the Bloomberg also praised Thailand as the strongest country in terms of macroeconomic. We believe that we could do even much better this year to keep our momentum of 3.5 to 4.5% of GDP growth in 2021. Distinguished guests, the rebound in the Thai economy has also been attributed to our economic policies in April 2020. that the government has introduced the latest stimulus package worth 1.9 trillion Thai baht, containing three parts as follows. First, a special borrowing of 1 trillion baht to support people and businesses who were affected by the COVID-19, especially those that lost their jobs and income. The package also contains funds to rehabilitate the local economy and sectors directly affected. There are three particular programs, for example, medical services, quick relief for the people, and economic rehabilitation. Second, the soft loans by the Bank of Thailand worth 500 billion Thai baht for business sector, especially for the SMEs. And third, 400 billion baht to stabilize financial and bond markets by the Bank of Thailand for setting up corporate bond liquidity stabilization fund, or what we call the BSF. Distinguished guests, as I mentioned earlier, the second wave of the COVID-19 has just happened last December, and the government is now working hard to contain the spreading of the virus. However, we hope the spread of the virus could be contained as soon as possible. Not to mention that the earlier vaccination would give a big help, but that would not affect our economic policies. I would like to touch upon four important points. First, we would continue our short-term economic policy on stimulus package that has been implemented since last year. The first thing that the government did last year was to help those who were unemployed by providing cash transfer of 5,000 baht for 3 months. It is obvious that to regain our foreign income from tourism sector, which accounted for 12% of GDP, would take 3 to 4 years. Therefore, to stimulate domestic economy is a key. The ongoing policy is to get people spend money, covering various groups. These are, for example, number one, top up monthly 500 baht monthly allowance to state welfare card holders. Second, the co-payment 50-50 programs, which the government pay 50% of the 300 baht daily expenditure per person for those who are over 18 years old. The government allows up to 3,000 baht within the period ended at December 2020. This program has been extended for another 3 months until March this year, and maximum pocket money is up to the 3,500 baht. So for the newcomer, 5 million people will get the 3,500. For those, the former 10 million people who register in the first phase will get another 500 baht for 3 months. Third, we Travel Together program, a tourism support program that will subsidize, the government will subsidize 40% of the normal hotel rates, capped at maximum 3,000 baht per night. Fourth, the debt suspension and provision of soft loan for SMEs. Out of 500 billion baht soft loan, 25% was already reimbursed, and hence the remaining is still available. Fifth, the credit guarantee scheme of over 150 billion baht for commercial loan would be provided so that the commercial banks feel more confident to provide cash for their customers. My second point is there, besides the short-term economic package, the government also has ample resources to support the economy throughout 2021. First, as of the December 2020, under the 1 trillion baht of emergency loan decree, the government has already approved 233 projects worth about the 528 billion baht and disbursed approximately 350 billion baht already. The rest, or about 650 billion baht, is expected to be dispersed by fiscal year 2021. Therefore, we are very much open to another fresh round of stimulus if required. The government still has enough fiscal capacity to support the economy, in particular, in light of present emergence of the coronavirus. Second, apart from the stimulus measure, the government has allocated fiscal budget to be used for fiscal year 2021. Under fiscal year 2021 budget, expenditure framework is set at 3.3 trillion baht. 19 or almost 20% of which, or about 649 billion baht, is capital expenditure. Third, capital expenditure will come from three major sources. One from the national budget worth 649 billion baht, and the other one from the state-owned enterprise worth about 291.8 billion baht. In addition, there is also the PPP investments. The total investment of proposed PPP projects in fiscal year 2021 will amount to 161.7 billion baht. So plenty of the capital expenditure from the government, from the national budget, from the state-owned enterprise, and from the PPP projects. This distinguished guest, my third point is, in the medium and long-term economic policy, the policy will focus on how to reform our economy to be more resilient. During the lockdown period last year, one observation that prevailed was that the digitalization has a big influence in daily life of the people and ways of doing business. It is therefore proof that digital will have a bigger role in our economic reform. At the same time, we have to fine-tune the balance between the capital account and the current account, so that the exchange rate mechanism will work in favor of our economic restructuring. The reform would emphasize the new engine of growth of both higher value-added industry and new area of economic zone. For new economic zone, the government also sees the importance of high value-added economy and the urgency of adapting to the new normal. In order to promote high value-added industry, we have invested in the Eastern Economic Corridor, or what we call the EEC. The EEC will be home to Thailand's 10+2 S-curve, new S-curve industries and research and development facilities. The EEC will host the 10+2 targeted industry, which are next generation automotive, intelligent electronics, high value and medical tourism, advanced agricultural and biotechnology, food for the future, automation and robotics, aviation and logistics, biofuel and biochemicals, digital, and medical and comprehensive health care. The latest industry recently added to the list are defense and education and human resource development. Distinguished guests, Thailand is also committed to promote more sustainable growth to ensure that it is also inclusive and friendly to the environment. We will continue to invest in sectors that help address the issue of carbon emission, including clean transportation, alternative energy, and water management. In terms of promoting green and sustainable financing, we have already issued the sustainability bonds to allocate proceeds for green and social projects. We are also looking into allowing ASEAN issuers to issue baht bond for green and social purposes in the Thai bond market. Besides a strategic location for direct investment, Thailand is a destination for portfolio investment because of its strong economic stability. The government has continued to improve our capital markets in accordance with the third Capital Market Development Plan. The plan consists of the 5 strategic measures, including first, a fundraising venue for SME and innovations. Second, a fundraising venue for infrastructure projects. Third, increasing capital market competitiveness. Fourth, a connectivity hub for regional capital markets. And lastly, to be ready for the Great Society. My fourth point, which is the last one, the reform of government revenue. While we have a huge amount of spending like many other countries right now, our policy would still follow the fiscal sustainability by reforming the tax structure to be more favorable to create new business and encourage carbon-free business. The financing for infrastructure would be reviewed to allow private sector to participate more in public projects. Distinguished guests, to conclude, the recovery of the Thai economy will continue on its course. The government will continue to promote economic activities without sacrificing physical integrity. By this year, it is very likely that we will begin to witness growth together with the regional economy. I believe that to achieve sustainable growth, it is necessary for us, the ASEAN community, to cooperate in both economic and health security aspects. I'm looking forward to the day that our borders are fully open to each other soon and continue our mutual prosperity. I hope that today's conference will offer great insights with respect to the member countries, economies, as well as rebuilding confidence in the region. Thank you very much.